This is Arvin Vohra, founder of Vohra Method and author of The Equation for Excellence, How to Make Your Child Excel at Math. And in this video, we're going to talk about grammar review. Why we begin your grammar training, every day of grammar training, with your grammar review questions. I want you to imagine for a moment that you're in a math class, and suppose that you have a few years of math class. The first year you learn addition, then you forget how to do addition, then the next year you learn subtraction, you forget that, and the year after that you learn multiplication. Now, a lot of you guys might be thinking, wait, that sounds insane. How could you do multiplication if you've forgotten how to do addition? Multiplication requires addition. In fact, you have to be really good at addition to do multiplication. It makes sense in math, and the same is true in grammar. Grammar, like math, builds on itself. Those fundamental skills build to the more advanced skills. If you want to understand how prepositional phrases work, you're going to need to understand how adjectives and adverbs work. There's no way around it. If you want to understand how noun clauses work, you need to understand how subjects, direct objects, and independent and dependent clauses work. All those skills build on each other. The other major part of grammar that's very critical is it's very easy for your mind when it first encounters grammar. Because grammar is so unfamiliar, it's easy to forget a lot of it. Grammar for many of us is something, when I was first learning grammar, I thought it was just this totally weird, unimportant thing. That was maybe sort of interesting, but I didn't understand at the time how important it was. I didn't understand that grammar was what was going to let me read super fast. I didn't understand that grammar was the secret to unlocking all of language. So I just didn't really get that. And so the result was, when I was first learning grammar, I didn't remember all of it. Now, that's probably going to be the experience that many of you have. So what we do with the review questions is we make sure that those grammar principles absolutely stick. Now listen, we're not going to teach you any grammar that's not super important. We're not going to teach you some weird esoteric nonsense. It might be unfamiliar to you right now, but it will be the core of your language processing. Take a look at this. When you learn something for the short term, if you don't rehearse it, sometimes it won't make it into your long-term memory. Listen, there's going to be some things that you'll hear once and you'll remember for life. That's totally cool. But other things will require review, and that's why we have that review section. If you learn something, if you totally get it right away, you're not going to review it at all. But if you get something, you struggle a bit with it, we're going to make sure you repeat it until it is totally in your permanent long-term memory. Now, some of you guys will say, well, that feels like I might just be moving backwards. I'm not really moving forwards. Here's the thing about grammar. Grammar, much like math, it's actually a lot like sports. Let's take a look at this guy over here. This is Herschel Walker, one of the greatest athletes of all time. Professional football player, Olympic bobsledder. He danced in a ballet for a year as a professional dancer. He's a mixed martial artist. He's this guy over here who's just beating the daylights out of this guy over here. This is what I want you to be like, by the way. I want you to be like this, and this can be any book you read, any passage you read, any grammar-related test you take, any standardized test you take. I want you to be just demolishing whatever test you take. And how does that happen? Well, let me tell you about how Herschel Walker focused on the fundamentals. Unlike many other athletes who would do like complicated, weird, heavy weights and whatnot, Herschel Walker kept it simple. He just did the basics: push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups. The difference is he repeated them more than other people. Instead of doing 50 push-ups, he does 1,500 push-ups a day, 3,000 sit-ups a day. By intensively repeating those basics, he gets really, really good at the advanced stuff. That's why he's able to do so many different sports at such an incredibly high level. With grammar, we're going to do something similar. You build up those grammar skills. You get faster and better. You get better at recognizing prepositional phrases. You get better at noun clauses. You get better at adjective clauses. You get better at all those things. You get better at knowing what transition words to use. As those skills improve, your grammar is going to improve. So in other words, the better you get with those basic skills, the better you're going to get at grammar. And that's going to improve not just your grammar skills, but your reading skills as well, because as most of you guys already know, reading depends on grammar, and reading speed depends on grammar ability. So go ahead and take a look at the review questions that you're on. We're repeating those not because you're moving backwards. That's actually how you get better. You get better by doing the review questions a lot, getting faster, more skilled, and more effective at grammar, and therefore at reading.